Hey, what is up, Patreon? It's Rich. I might have jumped the gun actually saying that. I don't know. The camera didn't fire on right when I hit it. So anyway, I thought we would do a storyteller spotlight and update video just for Patreon. So this will be probably 20 minutes because I need to get to work. But yeah, I've been dying to communicate with all of you a bit more the last week. But I mean, I think you all understand that I'm really, really busy with the hold on, I've got a cat locked in here. I didn't realize that. Hold on. Yeah, I opted to lock them out. The one that usually gets attacked was in here. They are sisters though. They get along well, but I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, but like obviously I need to get through the Megadeth gig, and I can explain why, because it's I'm still in a very, very screwed spot. Speaking of screw on heads, I've only had one paycheck this whole year, okay, for 2 weeks worth of work that I did for DC, and that's it. And then the Iron Maiden cover. But I mean, I haven't even made a month's salary in over 2 months. So the Megadeth job, unfortunately, pays like a commercial job, which means I don't get a check for 30 to 60 days when I complete this. So I have 2 pages left, and I'm inking page 8 right now. And I have the option to actually extend the end of the story if I want, depending on how cramped it feels to wrap it up. But the writer is really kind of controlling it, but I'll see. I'm working on page 8. To me, it does skip ahead a little bit too much, but you know, that wasn't really my call. That was how the script sort of rolled out. You'll see what I mean when you see the page. I think that things are happening a little tiny bit too fast. But you know, that's why you have to really manage your time when you script something out. But again, I didn't script it. The challenge is so the last inking job that I'm doing, I mentioned it on Instagram today, is I'm doing about 130 page Iron Maiden comic book that I'll be inking over a penciler named Kevin West, which is good. It's his stuff isn't really that time consuming. It's kind of David Finch-esque, but not as heavy duty crazy. And it will have a regular salary coming through for me where I can actually work on Blaster Kid, samples for other penciling work, and it'll be good. So I needed that. I needed some sort of stability, especially because of how in the hole I am. So it's been tough, you know, and I'm trying to keep a stiff upper lip through it all. But I mean, I think that's honestly like why I've been getting sick. You know, it's like stress, just like I really need a check every week, and I've had 3 in like 10 weeks. So it's been bad, like really, really bad. But I'm making it good. You know, I don't think from the outside people would imagine how hard it is. And so, yeah, I got pink eye like 2 days ago. Well, it came on like about 5 days ago, and then it kind of went away, and then it came back. I didn't know what it was. I thought I had just rubbed my eye too hard or something. We'll skip ahead. I think we've looked at this book a little bit. Yeah, it was like, man, the day before yesterday, it was bad. Like, I mean, I was working and I'm freaking out because literally the thought going through my head was I'm going to have to not finish this story because of my eye it was really messed up, or it's very hard to see. And then my other eye was starting to stress out because it had to carry so much of the weight. It was brutal. But I'm telling you because I need you all to understand, and I think part of the reason that some of you gravitate towards me is my honesty with stuff, and I'm not a complainer, but I'll just tell you the reality is, like, there's going to be times when you need to work and you do not feel well, and a lot of people just don't work. They won't do it. I do. You know, I'll work through it, and I've worked a few times really, really jacked up. And you know, not told anyone, but anyway, so my eye is much better. I think I'm at about 85% now. If I close my left eye, my right eye is the one that has the pink eye. It's still a little blurry, but not as bad as it was. And yesterday I was able to actually work at night, which had been really hard because the light gets different in my office at night. It can get a little Screwy Louie. But anyway, so I kind of made an official announcement today on Instagram that, I mean, I'm there. I will never go back to inking. I mean, it's like the line is drawn in the sand. Worst case scenario is I'll actually sell art if I got in a pinch and had to go back to it, it's not going to happen. I've got the 5 to 6 months worth of Iron Maiden work. And throughout that time, all I'm going to be doing is lining up penciling work, whatever I can do, whatever I can take on. And, you know, I think that I've got it going on. I don't mean that in like a hipster way. What I'm saying is, like, my confidence is really starting to build with my pencils, and I'm realizing that I am actually ready to do it, and I'm ready to kind of get in the ring and take a stab at just about anything. This is what it is there's so much problem solving and drawing, and it can be really intimidating. And I think that a lot of you that aren't doing it or are attempting it, it immediately raises a lot of questions. It raises a lot of doubts. And, you know, I have another friend who has been preparing to break into comics for like 20 years. I'm not even kidding. There's yelling going on in the living room. I don't know what is going on out there. The fuck? And it's kind of funny. So the cats were fighting outside of the office because I had locked them out. And my daughter was trying to break them up. It's crazy. This is the stuff I deal with on top of all this other stuff. But anyway, but I understand like why this stuff happens. Because it's confusing. And again, this is why I stress the fundamentals, because the fundamentals ground it all. And once you can do this, like, sort of checklist of things, you can solve the other problems. And that's what I realized. And I'm telling you, all the time this is happening now. I'm drawing stuff that I never, ever thought would even, like, that I would, I wouldn't say that I never thought that I'd be able to draw. I've always been pretty confident in what I think I could accomplish with my art. Things that I'm doing, though, are working out better than I would think. And when I'm drawing some of this stuff, it doesn't look like my stuff. You'll keep hearing me say that now, but it's like, I get how people get good. I understand now how J. Scott Campbell all of a sudden blossomed into J. Scott Campbell. I get how Travis blossomed into Travis. You know, I could right now sort of like correlate where I'm at with like my growth curve to where those guys were at in their career when the light started turning on. I'm not comparing the quality of my work. I'm saying that the amount of information that I have right now and my ability to execute it, I could place it really, really closely to where they were in their career. And they may have had different strengths at that time, but I had an interesting conversation with Travis one time. And I was complimenting him, and I was saying, like, man, it's just crazy, like, how good you are. And I was always so curious about, like, how it kind of happened for him. And I know this is, like, gold information for people that are fans of his. But he goes, look, the reality is, J. Scott Campbell is just as good as I am. He just draws differently. And I thought that was kind of a very interesting statement. But I get what he's saying now is it's like the same tools are in place. The same fundamentals are being utilized. It's just J. Scott Campbell had a different delivery to it, whereas Travis had his own. And I see it now, and I see where they're faking stuff and where they're not. And I could see it before. I could see little things that they would, you know, I would go like, wow, those are like really weird choices. And then you can kind of see the things that they understand. Yeah, so I really, like, for people that are considering the tiers, and again, I'm very, very busy right now. I can't do the videos just this second. Let me finish the heavy metal gig, and then things are going to open up a little bit for me. But I can definitely get people focused on the right things. And look, everybody's scenario is going to be different. There's not a one. Well, there is, though. At the core of it, it's like I can look at your work and I can tell you what you need to focus on, but I can't say that like artist A and artist C are going to have the same strengths and weaknesses, the same focuses. I can tell by what I see you working on and drawing what you're going to need to do to shift gears and really be able to sort of pump stuff out. And this would be another thing that I would say is okay, so when they launched that preview for the heavy metal book, and I, you know, I had been noticing this online, but once you're kind of in the game, meaning like once you're sort of like in the pond with other professional pencilers looking for work and you know, I hate to use the word competing for jobs, but you're going to be looking for work. They're going to be looking for work. You start to realize, and so this is another thing that I would actually encourage people, depending on your style, you're going to want to pull out every trick that you can in the book to make your stuff look as good as possible, but be true to yourself at the same time. And what I mean by that is, look, I had used the example of, I had seen a professional penciler who's been in comics for a long time. The guy's over 20 years, real good, real popular. But definitely has a little bit of a lazy side, but still really, really good artist. And they'll drop in sort of like Google SketchUp backgrounds and stuff like that in their work. And sometimes I'll go like, you know, da 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 da. But I use reference all the time. I mean, there's just no two ways about it. You have to, if you're gonna do your best work. And here's why I think that it's important to actually make sure that you are cross-referencing your stuff if you're not sure about drawing something. Look, you're not going to get bonus points if you draw a car out of your head and it looks like shit, or if it looks average, because the guy next to you might use whatever, like some sort of 3D model, and drop in a car and lightbox it, and their car is going to look better. And 99% of the people, if you showed them the two drawings, are going to go, well, this car is drawn better. And again, if you draw like Mignola and you have to stylize everything, then yeah, I mean, you're going to have to put your own spin on the reference that you use. So just be aware of that, because I know I've gone kind of back and forth on you know how I would encourage people to learn. You need to always go back to your drawing skills, though. The thing is it's like you need to be leaning on reference like 30% of the time, and 70% of it needs to be coming from your gut. And Mike references stuff all the time. All these backgrounds and stuff like that, at one point or another, he was referencing this stuff. When he draws animals, I guarantee he's pulling out reference from them, but he puts his spin on it. So it's like they assimilate quite well. But yeah, like I said, I'm realizing really, really quick that things have changed a lot. Like if you were gonna learn to draw 10 years ago, what you were going to be competing with is quite different than what people are now. I mean, you have very, very average artists using Clip Studio Paint, and you know, look, there's feathering tools. I'll just use inking as an example. So there's feathering tools, there's stabilized tools. So they're already a leg up on anyone that's just going to try to like have a level of I don't want to call it integrity, but you know what I'm saying? Like if you're like, why don't you stabilize? I throw the lines. It doesn't matter. At the end of it, people are just going to look at the quality of the work that you produce now. And you're in the pool with a lot of people that are using a lot of, I don't know if I'd call them cheats. They're using tools. They're using a lot of tools, and you're going to need to use them too if you're going to want to compete with them. And again, I hate to use the word compete, but that's the reality of it is you know, you want to have the best art possible, and it just becomes very apparent that's going to be a necessity. But again, there's one particular patron that I'm thinking of is, you have to have the drawing skills though, man. It's like you can't have all the tools and then draw like you've not really devoted the time to it. The two won't meet that comfortably, and you're gonna have a lot of like weird looking stuff, and it's you know, that like that professional penciler, because he's lazy with the tools that he brings into his work, it shows, because they don't blend. It doesn't look like the two, like look at this piece. Okay, so Mike might have used, he's drawn enough horses, he probably doesn't need it now, but if that was a horse that was fairly realistic looking in a Mignola style, he probably would pull out reference for it. Okay, so he would have reference there. And then for houses and stuff like this, Mike learned these things from photo reference. I'm not saying that this exact shot was, but this is all drawn by Mike, and a heart. Like, he didn't know how to draw a heart before this. Mike has a lot of the same tropes that he's used over and over again. So the thing is like, he's probably got building silhouettes memorized and all that stuff. And you know, again, but, you know, you can tell what's going on. You'll be able to tell what's going on. So anyway, I hope that this is encouraging. And again, you're going to need to fight for it. I was talking to Joe, who is a patron on Facebook, and he's an inker, and you know, saying like, man, it's just never been easy for me. Like, and I mean, just like to maintain a career, like it can be challenging, but I think that I'll do better at what I'm doing now, next, you know, than I did before. And I had a, you know, real good inking career, but there's a lot more to be, involved. Wow, I haven't even seen this. This is cool. Yeah, I got this book and never really had time to look at it. So, I had mentioned to Pat Scott, he was asking me some questions about stuff, and I was saying that, I think it was Pat, maybe it was someone else. Someone asked me about storytelling, and if they thought that this was, it might have been John, if I was going to stick with how I'm drawing now or not. And I said that, you know, well, I always reference Frank Miller and Mignola a lot. What I meant is reference them audibly, like when I think about it, but I really don't have time to look at much art. The only time I do is when I do these videos, which is actually why I'm doing it, because I'll watch this thing back 3 or 4 times today and actually check out the art while I'm working. Yeah, you know, I think that the Patreon hopefully is really, really helpful for all of you. And again, I used to try to do it on YouTube, but it's just, you know, it's just, it's a different experience, and it's a different crowd, because you've got everyone. It's like someone can just kind of walk up. It's like you're doing a show in a park, and it's like some random person comes up, and I'm just, you get tired of like the drive-by questions of like, it's like some person that's barely drawing, and they want your time, and oh, hey, like, what tools do you use? And you go and check out their page. They have like 2 drawings, and then, you know, it's not that you don't want to help that person, but you have to. I mean, I don't have time to answer what paper I use 50 million times to people that really, like, if you're asking that question, you probably haven't experimented that much. But it's okay here, because this is a different scenario. This is, like I said, I consider all of you, you're more serious about learning. You're more serious about supporting what I do. And you know, it's just, you've got millions of people online, and some of them are artists that don't know you, don't know your work, see that you draw, and just want attention. It's like, I don't have time for all them. This is a really cool book. So this is, well, we saw was the Amazing Screw-On Head and Other Stories. There's a couple of different covers for this. Mike's Anatomy. It's fun. It's funny because I have this small checklist of things that I want to work on when I finish this job, and one is I want to get like a few pieces of anatomy more dialed in for myself, which I think is going to really make my comic book superheroes look a lot more powerful. But again, it's like I'm limiting it down to like individual things. I can show examples of what I'm talking about, but you know how I was talking about, like, pick cool muscles and learn cool muscles, and the ones that don't look cool to you, you know, learn a version of it, because I mean, you're going to want to have some sort of functional anatomy. But yeah, just keep the stuff that looks cool. It's like, Mike, you know, are those folds? No, not really. There's enough there that makes it look like folds. So yeah, you'll figure out how to assimilate all this stuff into, I mean, like, look at this jacket we were talking about before. Sometimes you only need like 3 things. It's like, he indicates like the pleat on the shoulder, he's got the one crush fold here, and then a little bit of like, this is probably a big a piece of fabric that's been pushed up, so you're catching the top plane, and then the sleeves. But he's really only got 3 things to indicate a fold. I would be really, really tempted to put one right there, but that's me. But man, I knock this stuff out so fast now, and it looks good, and it's gonna look better because there's things that I don't know, like little areas that I go, oh man, I wish I knew those a little better, that I'll learn those, and then it's gonna look even more believable. So I've got this, you've got this, because you're with me. Okay, so anyway, all right, I'm gonna get going, because I my eye is actually somewhat decent today. This is a really cool drawing. My God, I think this is I saved the color version of this cover. What is this character called? Oh, Baltimore. That was what it was. The Plague of Ships. Yeah, this is a great piece. But yeah, so take care of yourself. Realize that sometimes you're gonna have to fight for it. And hey, it's funny, chains. I've been drawing a lot of chains because of Mr. Vic Rattlehead. But oh man, it's really cool. God, it's so creepy. Yeah, all the mistakes that I made, I can help you at least eliminate some of them for sure. So more and more people are pulling the trigger on those tiers, and I think it's a good call. But again, if you're watching this and you've done it, just you know, like I'll communicate with you in email, but just realize that I need to finish this Megadeth job because I don't have any checks coming in, and I understand you paid for a service, but yeah, just I need to get that job in, so at least that starts the process, and then once I'm working on the Iron Maiden that the inking job, I should be getting checks every week, which will be a very, very, I'll be in a more relaxed state, and although it takes time each day, having a regular check really does actually free me up to draw more. It sounds weird, but it's like I lose hours, but I gain the ability to do it on a consistent, I can get on a schedule, you know. I'll be working from 8 till noon on my stuff, from noon until probably 6 on the Maiden stuff, and then from 8 until 9:30 on my stuff. So 5.5 hours, you can get a decent amount of work done. And I do want to simplify my work a little bit. So as I get better, like I want the drawings to look better, but remove a little bit of the detail because it is comics, and you know, I need to make sure that I'm devoting time to the right things on the page. Some stuff will be quite detailed, though. I always want to deliver that because I know that people love it. Okay, you have a great day. I hope this was fun art to look at, and I hope that there was some good information in there for you, all right? I love you all, and thank you so much for being patrons. I'm not just saying that. I really, really mean it. You guys are saving my ass in a very, very tough time for me, but an exciting time. You see it. Look at the pages. Wait till you see this next one. I'll have it up tonight. It's cool, and it's different. All right? Bye.